political parties have declared their funds for the first quarter of the financial year. We are entering the second year of implementing the Political Party Funding Act. Now, although donations have increased from the last quarter, they are still significantly lower than election periods. The Democratic Alliance declared just under 16 million rand, with 15 million of that being from one donor. Let's get more on this now, and we're joined by the IEC Party Funding CEO, George Mahlangu. Mr. Mahlangu, thank you very much for your time. Can we begin with the question around other parties? How have they done in terms of declarations? The Democratic Alliance, we've already mentioned them. They've declared. What about the ANC and the rest of the others?
Good morning, Toli, and good morning to your viewers, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Toli, we have seen the first quarter of 2022-2023 period coming to an end, and only 4 political parties have declared their donations received within the quarter. Action SA has declared 750,000, ANC 10 million, and you've just mentioned the figure of Democratic Alliance that is just below 16 million. And Patriotic Alliance, for the first time that we're seeing a donation of 310,000 being declared to the Commission.
Yeah, and the donor names or individuals, the understanding around why this law had to be put in place in the first place was to make sure that South Africa's political parties are not influenced by outside forces. When I say outside, external, going beyond our borders. So are you able to tell us who made those donations, or perhaps the largest amount?
Okay. The Democratic Alliance, in its 16 million donation, 15 million of that amount, was received from a company called Finboss Equitate. I mean, this donor did donate to the same political party in the previous financial year. But now that they've donated 15 million, being a single donor, they've reached a ceiling, so they won't be donating to the political party in the next 3 quarters. The African National Congress received a donation of 10 million, which comes from an entity known as Butu Commercial Enterprise. And this mustn't be confused with a Batu Trust, which donated in the previous financial year. So these are 2 separate entities. Action SA, the biggest donation came from a company called Style Eyes of California. And the PA, both donations of 150 and 160 came from its leader, Mr. Gayton McKenzie. So most of these donations were from, South African entities, bar and an amount of about 723, which was a donation in kind, which the aid declared from Frederick Norman Foundation, which they did even in the previous financial year.
Mr. Mahlangu, the parties that have not declared, are we to assume that there have been no monies forthcoming, namely the Economic Freedom Fighters? Reason I say that is because it's one of our major political parties in terms of size.
Yeah, clearly the responsibility to declare remains with the political party. However, the financial statements which are going to be submitted to the Commission by the end of September, once published, will give us an indication of how the auditors have looked at the donations of each political party. So if Crowley has got information that the Commission doesn't have, Section 14.4 provides for that complaint, if it's laid with the Commission, or is put before the commission with prima facie evidence, of course, the commission has to investigate, that complaint. But as things stand, the law doesn't provide for us to go and request political parties to give us information whether they have received donations or not. However, the audit will have, the independent auditor appointed by the political party will have to look at those things, whether there's money that has been received by the political party which meets the threshold of declaration, and that money wouldn't have been declared to the commission in a particular quarter.
Yeah. Final question to you, and very briefly if you can. There does seem to be some pressure for this law to be amended somewhat because political parties are crying that they don't have money.
Look, it is the legislation that has to be, amended if needs be by Parliament. It is not our legislation, but you are correct. This legislation is due for amendment. If the Electoral Act, which is due for amendment, will consider independence at national and provincial legislatures, Political Party Funding Act has to follow suit, as those individuals have to be funded through the public purse once they have seats at both national and provincial legislatures. So you are correct. This law is due for amendment once the Electoral Act passes the amendment stage.
All right. And what would that amendment mean in practice, Mr. Mahlangu? Because part of the reason political parties are complaining, it is that the identities of those who are donating are being made known, and that perhaps has acted as a deterrent, or people being reluctant to donate these monies. My question to you is, if it is to change, how far will it go, and would the IEC have a problem if we go back to a situation where declarations are secret?
Look, the public and the civil society and the political parties themselves, they will decide, as we speak, Xoli, the civil society groups are of the opinion that 100,000 is too much. So this amount has to be reduced. And political parties on the other end are saying, no, who can buy us with 100,000? Because 100,000 is your quantum, your entry-level quantum. So I think the public participation will somehow, give an indication which way these quantums, they will go up or they will go down, because civil society are of the opinion that even this 100,000 is too much. So as the commission, we will implement what, has been agreed upon, or a meeting ground by all the stakeholders who are interested in this political party funding.
George Mahlangu, let me thank you very much for your time, sir. The IEC's party funding CEO.